I'm absolutely not late on this video. Not 2 years late at all. Hey guys, Eric, CEO of the Swiss here. Happy New Year, happy 2026. Hope this year is gonna be good for you, unless you're a communist. This video is one that's been requested, and I think I've promised this video like 2 years ago on Twitter. I've tried to do it a few times, 2-3 times actually, and I was never really happy about it. So take 3. Hopefully this one works fine. Today I'm gonna explain how firearm ownership in Switzerland actually works. And I'm not gonna go into all the details, but basically what I'm going to explain is I want to buy a gun. How do I do that? We're not gonna go into all the little details per canton because it kind of varies sometimes. We're not gonna go into concealed carry because we don't have a general concealed carry in Switzerland. You can get a concealed carry permit, but it's really difficult. So we're just gonna go into gun ownership. How? Also, what I'm not gonna cover in this video is knives, because as much as I enjoy knives, it's another subject and I will be covering that in another video. Okay, let's get to it. First of all, short version. In Switzerland, with the proper paperwork, you can own whatever you want. What people in the US would consider short barrel rifle, semi-automatic firearms, handguns, machine guns, belt-fed, pump action, everything with the proper paperwork, you can own it. Now, let's go into the details and how that works. So, this is Häns. Häns is a Swiss citizen, and like any Swiss citizen, is obviously very, very rich, and he wants to get into guns because he thinks it's fun. So instead of going on Twitter and asking random American boomers how Swiss gun laws work, he actually goes to a gun shop. And after a few moments of discussion, he comes back with kind of the 5 ways you can get guns in Switzerland. And those 5 things are 5 different levels of paperwork, basically. One thing I'd just like to point out, when I say acquiring firearms, this applies to Swiss citizens, people that have a C-type residency permit, so permanent residency in Switzerland. If you do not have a C-type permit or you're not a citizen, you can still acquire firearms. You just have to go through the same process, and you have to provide basically documentation that you would be allowed to own a firearm from your country of origin. So for example, you're French and you have a FFT license, so you're a licensed shooter in France, and you don't have a C-type, you have a B-type permit, you can still get a gun in Switzerland. You go through the same process and you provide the information that, I'm allowed to own gun in France because I'm a FFT licensee, etc., etc. And then it's also shall issue. It's no problem for you to acquire firearms. If you're in the US, if you're from the US, I don't know, maybe a concealed carry license is something valid. I have no idea. If you're not a permanent resident of Switzerland and you want to acquire a firearm, contact your local firearm office and they will tell you how it works. I know people that are not Swiss and they still own guns and they still purchase guns in Switzerland, so that's 100% doable. Although there are some countries, some nationalities that are 100% banned from acquiring firearms, like Albania and Turkey and others, Sri Lanka, I think. And if you're from these countries and you're not a citizen, you're screwed. You can get a gun. So the 5 categories are firearms that are subject to declaration, basic registration, basically. The second category are those that are subject to purchasing permit. Basically, it's a paperwork that you apply with the local police and you pay a fee and then you can buy a gun. You have the sports shooter exemption, the collector's exemption, and then you have the Cantonal exemption, which kind of is the collector exemption, but that applies for like machine guns and suppressors and that kind of things. So those are kind of your 5 main categories. Let's get into details of each one. So firearm subjects to declaration are basically all bolt actions, so non-military bolt actions for hunting or sport shooting, hunting shotguns, so single or double barrel. So typically this neat little Spanish 410 is covered under this rule. Or for example, you can get a Swiss K31 or K11, despite being a military bolt action. This is you can still get it on a declaration form. You can get like single shot 22s, bolt action 22s, combination rifles. You know, like one shotgun barrel, one rifle barrel for hunting. You get the idea. You can also get muzzle loaders, so black powder guns, single shot for pistols, and multi-barrels for rifles. These are covered under this kind of paperwork. So you're Hans and you want to buy a hunting shotgun. So how do you do that? You go online and you order a copy of your criminal record. You can do that online. It costs 17 Swiss francs as of 2026. And basically, you go to a seller, you give him your ID, the copy of your criminal record, and if your criminal record is clean enough, so no acts of violence, that kind of things, the seller, and that can be a private individual or a gun store, a professional, you sign a contract, and on the contract you put your informations, the information of the seller, and the information of the firearm. So for example, a Spanish shotgun, a 410, serial number, that kind of things. You keep a copy, the seller keeps a copy, and the seller is responsible for sending a third copy to your local firearm office. Firearm offices are at the canton level. So if I buy a gun in Zurich, the guy that sells it to me has to send the papers to the canton where I live. So here I'm in Valais, so he will send it to the firearm office of Valais. And that's it. You're done. The Hans officially owns this shotgun now. It's his property. There's no licensing requirement, no training requirements. He doesn't have to like renew a license every year, doesn't have to pay additional fees. It's his, it's done. Hans, he thinks the K31 is really cool, and he'd be right, it's really cool. But he wants something else. He wants a semi-auto gun, he has a good budget, and he wants to get into more like dynamic shooting. That's where the permis d'acquisition d'armes in French, PAA or VES in German, and comes in. This is a firearms acquisition permit, basically. This is a shall issue permit that you basically go to your local police, and depending on the canton, it can be, you can do that online, or you have to go to the firearms office directly, or you have to go to a police station to pay the fee, because everything in Switzerland you have to pay a fee. That's just how it is, and you just drop the papers there. Depends where you live. Where I live, I have to go to my local police station. It's a 10-minute drive away. Give the paper, give the money, and they transfer it to the firearms office. And after like a week or two, my papers are clear. What can you buy with this permit? Basically anything you want. There are, except for a few things. Machine guns are not covered. Here, you cannot purchase a semi-auto gun that's been converted from a factory machine gun, so you can buy only factory semi-autos. You cannot get guns that have been shortened, that can be shortened to less than 60 centimeters while keeping their functionalities. So for example, a 10-22 takedown that you can split in two, that's not banned. You can get one with this permit because it gets to less than 60 centimeters, but the gun is disabled. An Uzi, if I fold the stock, it's not disabled. It still works. So you could not get an Uzi with the folding stock. But you can get a semi-automatic AR, you can get a pump-action shotgun, you can get a lever gun, you can get handguns, revolvers, That's all fine, you can get that. There are restrictions on magazine capacity with this permit. Rifles, like long guns, are limited to 10 round magazines, and handguns are limited to 20. That does not apply to rimfire firearms. If it's a 22 long rifle or a 22 mag, you have no magazine capacity restrictions. So if you buy one of those cool Kel-Tec semi-auto MP7s we have at home, and they have like 30 round mags, that's fine. You can get those, no problem. Rimfire magazines are not subject to any kind of restrictions whatsoever. So as I mentioned, these permits are shall issue. They will process the paperwork. They will do a background check on you, see if you're like normal person. But if there's no like counter indication of that it's fine for you to acquire a firearm, they will give you the permit. And just like the contract, you receive 3 copies of the permit. You fill one with the info of the gun or guns. The seller keeps one, you keep one, and he sends the 3rd copies with the information of the gun back to your firearm office, and you're done. You own these guns now. They are your property, and just like guns under contract, there's no like licensing, fees to renew, anything that you have to do. These guns are yours forever, or until the government decides to be mean about it. So this is your basic purchasing permit. Then you have a level above, which are, it's kind of the same level above, but it's 2 separate permits. You have the sports shooter exemption, and you have the collector exemption. Now, the sports shooter exemption allows you to buy the same guns that previously mentioned, but for example, you can get magazines of more than 10 rounds for long guns, more than 20 rounds for handguns. So if you're a competition shooter and you want 30 round mags in your AR, that's what you're gonna ask for. You do like, I don't know, shotgun competitions and you want a mag-fed shotgun with like drums or whatever, you can under the sports shooter exemption. And the sports shooter exemption, same thing, you apply for the paperwork, it costs the same, around 50 Swiss francs, and also allows you to buy 3 firearms on the same day with to the same seller. And there's just one little administrative stuff you have to go through with this. You have to fill out a paper that basically says, hey, I'm going shooting, or I'm a member of a shooting club. You have to fill this paperwork by proving that you're either a member of a shooting club or that you're going to practice with your guns. You get someone at the range to sign it for you, and you have to go shoot 5 times over the course of 5 years. You don't have to do it with the gun you applied for the permit. You can go shoot at your local hunting range with this and have the guy sign the paper. That's an administrative thing. I think that was done to make like the European Union happy. I think it's kind of dumb, and you have to do that after 5 and 10 years, and you just send the paper back. They just want you to know that you're serious about you owning this kind of guns. It's kind of stupid, but that's how it is. You can also just be a member of a shooting club and give the proof of that, and that works just fine. So that covers rifles and pistols with more than the normal low capacity restriction. Now, what can't you get on a sports shooter exemption are guns like this that can be shortened to less than 60 centimeters. Full auto guns cannot be purchased on that paper either. So that's where the collector exemption comes in. That's how I purchased this. This is basically the same thing as other permits. You apply for it, they do a background check, and you have to basically prove that you own a safe. You have to keep these secure, sort of secure. It kind of depends again on the canton on how they want to apply that. But basically, when I apply for collector permits, I just send a picture of my safe and I just write on it, hey, this is my safe, it's in my office, at home, and 99.9% of the time it's gonna be fine. My first collector permit, when I purchased the Uzi, I didn't even have a safe. I had like one of those, metal cabinet, kind of, you have like in high schools, just with a key. And I was like, oh, that's where I'm putting the Uzi. And the guy was like, fine, good enough. And with a collector permit, you don't have to go through the whole proving that you shoot and whatever. You just have to prove that the guns are stored safely. And you can own basically whatever you want that's not a machine gun or a grenade launcher. So shotguns, guns that have been converted from machine guns. You can get extra capacity magazines, like this 40 rounder for an Uzi. You can own all of that. That's also how I got this AK, by the way. So now Häns is pretty well covered. He knows that he can purchase basically whatever he wants. But there's one thing he really, really likes, and he would like to own a belt-fed machine gun, full auto, like an FN Minimi or something. Well, he can, actually. In Switzerland, there's no ban on machine guns or import of machine guns, so you can just import a brand new production machine gun if you want, with the proper paperwork. Now, for a full auto permit, it depends really where you live. Some cantons are really more strict than others. Some will want you to be a gun owner for a while. Some will ask you to be a collector prior to that, so to have owned gun on a collector's permit. But in general, you pay the fee for the collector's permit for a machine gun or a grenade launcher, costs $150, and you can buy machine guns. Now, it comes with a twist, and that's why machine guns are so inexpensive in Switzerland. First of all, the market is not locked down because of the NFA or that kind of things, but you legally cannot shoot machine guns in Switzerland without prior approval of the firearm office. So, how does that work? You apply for your machine gun permit. It gets approved, and you have to store the firearm and the bolt at separate places. So, for example, you buy a very fancy Thompson 1928, you put the firearm on the wall as a display, the bolt goes in a safe somewhere else. You have storage requirements for machine gun. And if you want to bring that fancy Thompson at the range, that's difficult, because you need to apply to your firearm office saying, hey, I want to shoot my machine gun on this day. And they will evaluate your request and say, okay, fine, that costs 100 Swiss francs. And that's how it is. And then you have to find a place to shoot it, because in Switzerland, you can shoot on private property if it's not accessible to the public. So basically you have to be somewhere that's kind of locked down, or indoors, or really somewhere that no one can access. You cannot shoot on public land unless you're a hunter during hunting season. So you have to find a place to shoot them. Some range, they do like machine gun days. Some range, you can contact them in advance, say, hey, I want to shoot a machine gun, and they will probably want to know you before you come, so that you just don't show up with a machine gun and put bullets everywhere. So yeah, that keeps the market for machine guns kind of restricted, because apart from collectors that just buy them for the collection, people that shoot for fun or for competition, they're not going to buy a machine gun. It's too much of a hassle. Every time you want to shoot it, you have to apply for paperwork. So that keeps the market kind of small. And due to the lack of restrictions, machine guns are not that expensive. Sometimes machine gun versions of some guns are cheaper than the semi-auto. It's cheaper to get a full auto IMI Uzi than to buy a semi-auto one. That's just how it is. Now, the last point I want to go through, it's suppressors. Suppressors are technically in the same category as machine guns, so they're banned. Banned means nothing in Switzerland. Technically, this is banned, yet I own a ton of those. So banned means nothing. When they say banned, it just means different set of paperwork. Suppressors are in the same ballpark as machine guns. Paperwork for suppressors costs 100 Swiss francs. It allows you to buy 3 suppressors on the same day to the same person, again, just like a firearm. And you have to store them securely, so they have to be in a safe when not in use. But contrary to machine guns, you can, if you own them, you can use them. The only restrictions are during hunting. For example, some cantons do not allow suppressors for hunting at all, which I find really weird, but whatever. But the general consensus around suppressors in Switzerland really is shifting. Where I live, suppressors are really easy to get, and the idea around suppressors being like good for like people around you, people shooting with you. It's better to shoot with a suppressor for your ears, for the environment. So the mentality is kind of shifting, and more and more people are getting suppressors. I have 2 suppressors on the way, one 30 cal and one 22 that should arrive soon. And yeah, there you go. That's kind of how gun ownership works in Switzerland. Now, I'm just gonna go over a few key points, just so that people in the comments don't go, oh, well, actually this, well, actually that, or move the goalpost like 50 miles away. I know how it works on the internet. I see it every day on Twitter. So just gonna dispel a few myths. For example, no, you cannot carry. I'm never gonna hide that. Getting your carry permit is difficult. You either have to be like private security, or you have to prove to the police that your life is in direct danger from someone or from an organization or something. So really difficult to get a carry permit. I guess that if I apply for one, I will never get it. Ammo wise, if you qualify to buy a gun, so basically empty clean criminal record, you can buy ammo. If you can buy ammo, you can keep it in your home. If you can keep it in your home, you can keep it in your guns. That's it. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. No, despite what a lot of boomer level Facebook memes want you to believe, it's not mandatory to own a gun in Switzerland. Most people don't. Most people that own a gun own one from their military service, and it just hangs somewhere in a closet, never to be really used. But there's a big community of collectors that own many guns, like me and my friends. So since you do not have the right to carry, you don't have the right to have a loaded gun on you. So if you go from your home to the range, or from your home to your hunting spot, guns have to be unloaded. You can have guns loaded in your home, that's fine. I cannot take a loaded mag and put it in my gun, put it in my car and go to the range. It has to be unloaded. Ammo and guns have to be separate. That's kind of subject to interpretation depending on the cop, but basically empty gun, empty mag, in a case, like a soft case, it doesn't even have to be locked. And you know, the little front pocket of your case, you can drop ammo in there and it's fine. That's good enough. The idea is you're not supposed to have a gun ready to shoot. That's it. Another point, there's no limit to the amount of guns you can own. If you can own one, you can own 5,000. This is ownership. There's no like licensing, really. So there's no like restrictions on the amount you can have. I know, for example, in France, they have that for B category firearms. We do not have that. If I have the money and I want to buy 2,000 AKs, I can. I do not have the money for 2,000 AK, but if I had, I could. Also, there's no limit to the amount of ammo you can purchase or own or shoot per year. You might have restrictions, fire code restrictions, due to the fact that ammo is still technically explosives. So I know that, for example, in Zurich, you're limited to like 300 or 400 kilo of ammo at a certain place. But I'm not so sure about that. So check with you. If you live in Switzerland and you buy ammo, check with fire code restrictions, and you'll be fine. But no limit on the amount you can get. No, the state doesn't provide everyone with a rifle. They provide every militia member with a rifle or a pistol, and it's not even mandatory anymore to keep it at home. You can, if you want, you can leave it at the armory where you do your military service, and at the end of your service, You are allowed to keep your service rifle against a small fee, and you have to apply for a firearm acquisition permit. Basically, they want just to check that you don't have a criminal record when you leave the military, so that they can leave you the gun. But basically, you can get a Sturmgewehr 90 for like $200. So that's a pretty cool deal. There's just a few restrictions. If you want to purchase back your service rifle at the end of your service, you have to have participated to a few shooting events beforehand outside of service. That's all. So okay, I think that's it. That basically covers it. I didn't go into every detail, like all the little like quirks of sport, what's considered a sporting rifle, what's limited, what's not, yada yada. I didn't go into every detail. If you're in Switzerland and you want to acquire a gun, contact, and you have doubts, contact a gun shop, contact your local firearm office. That's basically the simplest thing you can do. If you have questions and I can answer them, don't hesitate in the comments to ask me. If I don't know the answer, I will tell you who can answer to you. Always happy to help new gun buyers in Switzerland. And okay, I hope it at least covers a bit how firearm acquisition in Switzerland works. It's just a decision tree of what do I want to buy? I want this, what paperwork do I do? It's basically that's it. It's really, really simple. And that's it. That's gonna be all for me. If you survived this entire video and you're still with me, thank you for watching. Hope 2026 is gonna be a good year for my channel. If you want to support me, I have a Coffee link down below. If you want to drop me a few bucks so that I can keep feeding the AK, that would be mighty appreciated. And I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.